So, welcome to College Recruiting Unlocked. All right, the game behind the game. I'm your host, Coach Spree, and every week, we break down what recruiting truly is. But today, we have a special guest and a special treat. So now, look, if you're a parent and you're juggling carpools, practices, tournaments, and just trying to keep your athlete motivated, this one's for you, right? Because today's guest will enlighten us on that chaos that she has been in herself and not only been a part of that, but built a solution for it. She's the co-founder and CEO of Orgo, a company dedicated to helping families manage the stress, the logistics, and lifestyle of youth sports so kids can stay in the game and continue to love the game as well. So Zoya, thank you, thank you, thank you for taking time today to jump on the show with me and welcome to the show.
Cannot follow that introduction enough. That was fabulous.
Absolutely, you
Thank you.
can.
Thank you for having me. Super excited.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So look, everybody, including myself, we love origin stories, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has a story to tell, and every story should be told. But your origin story is very powerful. So take us back, just kind of take us back, because you immigrated to the U.S. With your mom and pretty much with no resources and things of that nature. So give our listeners, your full name, and let's talk a little bit about that origin story.
No, I appreciate the opportunity to share it because it definitely feeds the why of the now, but it stems all the way, back then. So again, Zoya Lehrer, co-founder, CEO of Orgo. Thank you again, Coach, for having me. Exactly as you said, I immigrated here when I was 9 from the Ukraine with my mom. We touched down in Brooklyn, New York, as one did in the early 90s. And fun fact, we had $9, or was it 8, in our pocket, which was the cost of cab fare from JFK Airport to where we were staying in Coney Island. And that was kind of, the means with which we, packed our bags and just decided to, well, I didn't decide. She did, thankfully, on behalf of all of us, to start life anew. And so with that said, my childhood is very different from the ones that I'm sure many of the listeners and my own kids experience today. It was in the inner city. We grew up in government housing. My mom went to work right away. She was a computer programmer and an engineer at a time when, the dot-com boom was happening. So it was an exciting time to be inspired by that, to watch so much of the labor and the impact kind of, power much of what the world was experiencing at the time technically, and it definitely bit me as a bug, which will be a fast forward into my own career from there. But point there being, I didn't grow up through sports, and so we kind of played around on the block, and we would play in the playground and handball, basketball, rollerblading, you name it, we did it. But it was not in any sort of an organized capacity, and it was not until I moved to suburbia freshman year of high school, which I would deem to be another immigration of sorts, because it was a complete departure from the inner city kind of norm that I had grown accustomed to. But I immediately observed that even at that age and certainly at those locations, my peers were completely different. They had different experiences, and then they moved into the room differently, and they had relationships that stemmed all the way back, of course, kindergarten and even earlier. But the way that they had this camaraderie, these relationships that they had built over time, it struck me. I was like, whoa, this is notably different. So much so that A, I felt without, and a little bit of FOMO with that. But then B, noted that that is definitely something that I would love to invest into as my own experience as a parent when the time comes. And so that was a little bit more of the sports parent kind of, story there. And I went to play tennis in high school and I ran track, but it was not nearly at any sort of notable level. And that was kind of a chapter that came and went, but it definitely stayed with me in terms of the skills that others had gathered from that. And then from there, I went into technology, followed my mom's footsteps, graduated with computer science and information technology degree, went on to spend 20 years in financial services and banking as one does in the New York, kind of northeast area here, and had found a lot of success within my career, had climbed up, through the executive branch, if you will, and would oversee large enterprise tech stacks. And then it was not until 2 years ago that I jumped out from that corporate career in pursuit of the solution that we'll be talking a little bit more about today. So
Awesome.
I'll pause
Awesome.
there.
I'm sure there's a lot of parents that story kind of hit home with, and so, let's talk about some of the biggest struggles you had, and not just family wise, just when you started to really dive into youth sports, because that's a whole nother ball game there.
It was. It's in fact a different chapter, right? So now I have three daughters. Their ages are 14, 10, and 7. 2 years ago, not much different. And so we had really kind of dove into the world of youth sports, exactly as you stated. And so I would say that we're a high-performing family. We do busy well. We sign up for things and we like to follow through. We encourage our kids, do not vicariously live through them. We're there to support, doing all the right things on the sports parenting journey. But as that third one entered the game and faster, stronger, wanting to do all the things, we were immediately outnumbered. And so that was the aha moment. Again, my sitting in corporate, feeling pretty successful in my career and feeling the complete opposite in home. And each time that a weeknight would roll around, or even during the day itself, the phone is ringing off the hook, the text messages are coming through, the WhatsApp groups are lit up, all the team management apps sending all the different texts and updates and such. I'm like, this is a lot. And then doing that weekend after week after week, and for the foreseeable 15 years more that we would be on this journey, felt absolutely untenable. And so with enough of those moments of feeling really out of control in terms of not, showing up at the wrong place at the wrong time, dropping the ball constantly, of grabbing the wrong uniform unknowingly, picking up the wrong kid, handing off something that I shouldn't have. Right. I mean, just all these different, it was like a comedy of errors. And you feel enough of those and they stick with you as kind of a core memory when you disappoint your kid, when they look at you, that like, okay, mom, that one job, you had one job of bringing me here on time and here I am late. Now I'm in trouble with the coach. Now I've disappointed my team. Now it reflects on me negatively as that, individual. So the sum of those parts started to culminate. And I was like, this doesn't feel good. Why? Why is it so painful? Well, at work, I had tools. I had B2B and SaaS solutions that were designed to make my life better, efficient, my job, more productive. And at home, it felt the complete opposite. It was like team management app screaming, WhatsApp groups, all the stuff. So then, just kind of inspired by the enterprise mindset and my experience within corporate, to start to see a different alternative experience, perhaps within the home. And so the vision for Orgo, which stands for Organization on the Go, slowly started to come to life. And with that, it was really leaning into the words logistics.
Mm.
Logistics is simply, in its definition, getting the right people to the right places on time. And how beautiful is that? Because
Right,
that's all we do all day
right.
long on repeat for years.
You're right.
Right. And so I kind of borrowed from that. I'm like, well, who does that well? Supply chain management companies do that well. UPS, Amazon pulls up here to the minute. They have it figured out. How are we any different? Right. We're handing off our kids our packages, we're delivering them on time and so forth. So, really inspired by so much of what's happening already in other industries. The experience that we've built really kind of emulates that complexity, but distills it into really simple and intuitive platform. And so, with that, Orgo scheduling app, it does a couple of things. Firstly, it brings all of the schedules and aggregates them in one place. It's a single source of
Mm.
truth. It is so beautiful. I've got my team snap in there, my play metrics. I've got my Google, my Apple calendar, my work calendar is in there. My husband sees it too. It's shared. My kids see it as well. And it's just all in one place. So that's really kind of the vision for, Orgo number one.
Right.
Secondly, and perhaps most importantly, is now that those events are inside Orgo, we do something uniquely to us. No one else does this. We translate those events to logistics. We will take a game that is so innocently on our calendars or even in those, team management apps as 3 to 4 p.m. and we'll show you what that event really entails. It's got
Mm.
prep time, it's got travel
Ah,
time, upwards to what, 3 hours we're traveling out of state, right? I mean, it depends
right.
with traffic patterns that are unique to that time, to that place, travel time calculations, early arrival accounted for. Coach wants you there an hour early for warm-ups, even earlier for swim, even earlier for hockey, depending on the activity in the sport. The core duration of the event itself, start and end time, sure, that's your 3 to 4. And then you've got another 2 hours, drive on the way home back. So that end to end is not represented anywhere in full. And we show it to you exactly as you're about to execute on those logistics. We
Wow.
also include carpool drivers. Well, who's driving to? Who's staying at and who's driving back from? Because God
Mm.
knows those text threads and all those WhatsApp groups, that's where the negotiation is happening, right? We've got
Right.
I drive to on Mondays, you'll pick up from on Tuesdays, Wednesdays we'll switch Thursday, someone else will do it. It's the only lifeline that can allow us to take on so much and, be able to be in all these different places. And then lastly, we send notifications. We say it's time to start preparing. It's time to start driving. We
Ah.
guide you through that flawless execution where you could be present. You don't have to be paranoid. You're not worrying about what's next. What are the conflicts? I can't be in two places at the same time. You got it all kind of laid out and you see the day for what it truly is.
It's awesome and crazy at the same time.
But it's so simple. I was like, when we came to that, we're like, wait, I'm sorry, that's not there any like that. I can't find that anywhere. Why is that not a thing? But it's hard as we've been
Right.
building it for over a year. We're like, this is hard, like triangulating people, places, and time and
Mhm.
things, and allowing for that collaboration to take place as seamlessly as possible. That's kind of hard stuff. So.
Well, it gets rid of the did you say you were going to or I or was it my fault or did you it gets rid of all that, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like this is corporate term, so excuse my jargon. Yes, excuse my jargon. So two things. So data, right? So data management, it's like it's you aggregate the data, you centralize it, got it. So we've got those integrations. And then change management. You talk to any organization where they are efficient and where they are proficient or not is all about how you manage change because change is constant. And that's the world we live in here as well. There's weather, there's movement, there's updates, there's field changes. Somebody got sick, we can't drive. So the way you respond to change, and more importantly, where you administer it, is where the burden lies. That's the mental load. Because if we don't have a place for it, well, then that becomes this panic-stricken moment. What did you say? What did I say? And we're triple checking each other. It's like death by thousand texts. Stop it. Stop the madness. Just have a single source of truth and just change it when change comes. It's so satisfying.
Wow. 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 Wow.
Yeah.
I'm back in an NIL webinar on May 20th at 7 p.m. Central, where athletes won't just learn, they're being evaluated, selected live for NIL paid opportunities. They're also featuring select athletes on platforms and pushing them out for exposure. So if you are serious about getting seen and getting paid, this is where it starts. Register now before it fills up. All right, Zoya. So look, keeping kids in the game, right? Just keeping them in the game. I mean that overall statement is not always easy to do, right? And so there was something on your site that kind of hit me. It said, and I'll read it here. It says, helping more active families find joy with sports and keep kids in the game longer.
Yeah.
Explain that.
Sure. So the founding moment of that origin story is when all of the anxiety, uncertainty, and negativity that started to culminate within my own household brought me to a point that said, they're about to want to quit because of everything that happens before we leave the house. In other words,
Mm.
everything that seemingly is within our control, and that's the pressure of being a parent, right? Everything that we can control actually impacts what they do, how they feel, and how they show up on the field and during the game. At that point, we've already fought over where the cleats are. We're already running late. We're already stumbling through each other. We're trying to find the address. We're copying and pasting. The mental health is gone. And now we're recovery mode. And by the time we arrive, we as parents are like, phew, check the box. Thank God I'm in the right place. Their work is just about to begin. So, what is the state in which they're entering that environment? Well, it's not positive. I'll tell you that. They're not going to be at the top of their game, right? So, we thought a lot about what happens before that affects the during. And so, if we can just kind of smooth that process, there maybe we could focus on the joy. I will tell you, because we've lowered the frequency, it's just kind of like just brought it down. Now we're thinking and we're talking in the car about the state, right? Like if it's a big game, let's talk about that or not, especially on the ride home, all the rules, don't talk to them on the ride home, don't talk. Now we can really focus on what the core of the experience is. And of course, we want to whittle that down to the joy, right? And all the
Right.
wonderful and the benefits that we kind of sign up for. But if that noise surrounds it, that noise will always be louder. It certainly was the
Yes.
loudest in my home that started to impact the quality of their experience. And that was a big pause for me. I'm like, whoa. What can we do different beforehand that we can better impact the during?
Gotcha. I'm going to do something a little different on this show, right? So I normally leave our listeners with some actionable tips as far as
Mhm.
what they can be doing in recruiting, right? And I feel as though I've left enough of those actionable tips. We're going to put that on your plate today,
Yeah.
right? We're going to put that on your plate today. I know one actionable tip that they can do is get the app, right? It's to absolutely get the app. But just some actionable tips for
Yeah.
families that are listening can use when dealing with kids in youth sports.
For sure. I really appreciate that, Tia, because, so much is what we just talked about in terms of like the buttons and the clicks and the utility, and it helps all these wonderful things to do specifically for the families and the parents themselves, and of course, grandparents too, by the way. My mom's and what we call our crew. The crew recognizes that the family unit is just more so than the people in your house, and it's the people in your village, the ones that help you. It's your caregivers, your babysitter, anybody who's kind of like helping you execute on the complexity of it all is certainly cared for within our experience. But guess who also is an active member of the experience? The young athletes. And we
Mm.
have a thesis that young athletes have an unfair advantage of learning what we've called and trademarked time literacy ahead of others. It's an executive skill, like financial literacy, that is not innate. It is taught. We think
Mm.
and we take time for granted. We experience time subjectively, but in fact, it isn't. It is an objective measure. And to see it as realistically as we lay it out within the app, as simply as my 7-year-old, even 6-year-old back last year when we were testing the app alongside with her, she can very easily navigate it and see exactly what her little day entails, which, by the way, is quite busy.
Wow.
And so, with that, time literacy, understanding firstly, how does time work? You don't just show up. You don't
Right.
just teleport. You're not a unicorn, right? Like the call we're having right now. We don't just show up in the field like that. It requires what we call the T minus calculations, parent math, whatever you want to call it. It's the backing into and all of the components that lead up to, yes, a timely arrival. So,
Mm.
breaking that down, seeing it fully for the accordion of time as that is expanded, anybody should do that, especially the young athletes. And so, again, our thesis is we, especially within my household, I am the supporting character. You are the main character. This is
Mm.
your practice. This is your game. This is your experience. I play a role in driving you. I will provision the food. I will give you shelter. I will pay for it. But when the notification from Orgo says, which by the way, we all received, those who are participating in the event, it's time to start preparing. Guess what? You take that action. It's
Mm.
time to start driving. We're all meeting by the car downstairs. We are on the same team. We're moving toward the same goals. So it's no shock to you. It's not shock and awe. Okay.
Right.
It's not mom yelling at you. It's not dad, screaming. It's literally we're on the same team. So it starts in the home. It's the same team structure that we obviously want to see emulated on the field and the court, et cetera. It starts in the home. So time literacy, it's an executive skill set. You're going to show up in life. You're going to show up in the field. You will just master time management and have that as a core skill set. That's chef's kiss. That would be a gift. That would be our gift to anybody who can make that actionable. And that's an extra value proposition that one would gain. And adults too. I mean, many of us need time literacy, trust me.
Sure.
So,
Okay, don't get me started on
yeah,
that one. You're
triggered.
you're absolutely right. Let's do this. Let's make sure our listeners know how to take advantage of this because the simplicity of it is that everybody needs it. Everybody needs it, especially if you have, a family that not necessarily in youth sports. They can be in piano classes. They can have after
Absolutely.
school. It's just the rigmarole of just being a family, right?
Just we're out like any human, honestly, like any human that's just traversing and has a relationship with the outside world and is bound by space-time, as we all are, has to understand how to move through
Mm.
and how distances and time and relationship to events and calendaring and all that stuff works. So yes, we love a sports family use case, but there's nothing special or unique about our software that others couldn't use. So great point.
Gotcha, gotcha. So how can they attain this and
Yeah.
start using it now?
Easy to find. So you're going to go to orgohq.com, www.orgohq.com. You're going to go ahead and download the app. It's available in both app stores. It is $6.95 per month for the whole family or
Wow.
$59 for the month, or excuse me, for the year for the whole family. We do not go by person. It is not limited to how many people are in your crew. And what you're also going to do for the annual plan, so should you choose it, you're going to use code PRO7. and you're going to get 25% off for the year. And we'd love to pass that on as a discount and welcome as many families as we can help, as much as it's helped my own, to be honest. So
That's
love to have
awesome.
you.
We appreciate you offering that to our
Of
family as
course.
well because we sat here and we use the word often from the beginning to the end of this, and that was family. And we're firm believers in family at Pro 7. We when we decide to bring an athlete on, it's welcome to the family. We firmly believe that, right? That
Yeah,
they're part of our family. So
for
thank
sure.
you for offering that to our family. Really appreciate that.
Thank you for letting us be an extension of it. So that's
Absolutely. So, for those of you that don't know that are listening now, Orgo is a partner of Pro 7 Sports Recruiting. And so we're excited to just have Zoya on this call to talk more about Orgo and what it does. But listen, if your family is involved in anything extracurricular outside of the home, this app would be absolutely awesome for you to have. So go and download it, jump on orgohq.com and get control of your family's day to day, right? Take control of your time.
own your
You
day. Own
deserve
it.
to, right?
Own it. Yep.
So look, big shout out to you, Zoya, and the entire Orgo team. Got an opportunity to meet. Okay, what's your partner's name? I forgot.
Michael, he's
Mike.
amazing.
Mike
Yeah.
was awesome on our call, our third
Yeah,
quarter
no,
webinar
it is a
call.
team effort, and just like you're a family, we're small, small, able team, and we've been hustling. I mean, trust me when I tell you, like this is no small feat, but it just warms our heart each time that we hear from a family or we start to kind of understand the emotional and the behavioral impact that it has within
Mm,
their household, and we hear, the benefits that it can bring. It just makes the journey that much more worthwhile. So we'd love to do
wow.
even more for the
Wow.
Pro 7 family.
No, it was awesome meeting them. It was awesome meeting them, even though we had some troubles with that webinar, but we
Oh,
got
good.
over it. We got over it. But look, parents, if you've ever felt overwhelmed by youth sports or any extracurricular activities, this is it. This is it. So let it help you, right? Let it help you and take control of your time. So remember, all listeners, remember success in recruiting, right? So let's dive into a little recruiting. Success in recruiting doesn't just come because of your talent. You have to have a strategy. You have to have a plan. Things that we were just talking about, when it comes to your time, you have to have a strategy. You have to have a plan for your life in general. So, all my athletes that are listening, any athletes and parents of athletes that are listening as well, if you want to get your student athlete evaluated for scholarship opportunities, get on the College Prospect Report at collegeprospectreport.com. Again, Zoya, thank you, thank you, thank you for
My
taking time
pleasure.
out of your day to jump on the call. This has been College Recruiting Unlocked, the game behind the game. Thank you, Zoya.
Thanks, Coach.